Let's break down those market movements now with Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers. Makwe, as always, many thanks for your time this afternoon. Let's start off with the overall JSE performance this afternoon. I see we closed just over 1/3% in the green. Some of the catalysts perhaps including what I've just mentioned about the Federal Reserve's dovish stance on interest rates in the US.
Good afternoon to you. Yes, nice close, but we're worried. Remember, yesterday we closed down over 1%. This morning we opened strongly so, and mainly at the back of what we've just had overnight when it comes to the US interest rates. Yes, it was expected that they will hold rates, but their view about the economic projections, they were very good because they expect the economy to grow by almost 6.5%, and they continued to reassure us as market participants that they will keep interest rates as low as this record levels up until at least 2023. And remember, they went into that meeting with market players worried about the rising yields, and now the rising yields, it was all because people are worried about inflation expectations. So they tried to calm our nerves. And today they were also joined by the Bank of England, adopting that dovish tone as well. So yes, to some point, markets were trusting what the guy said. But we saw ourselves, especially the JSE, losing some of those gains. That was an indication that apparently we are not trusting what the guys are saying, and all because markets are saying probably the Federal Reserve, they are not taking this whole thing serious. They are very relaxed about the inflation going out of control. They are very relaxed about the yields getting out of control. And I think the JSE not to end in a negative was mainly helped by what we saw when it comes to platinum stocks. And after maybe that report that the likes of Asia, Europe, they're becoming very strict now when it comes to emissions, when it comes to cars, meaning demand of the likes of palladium, rhodium should continue to go up, including platinum. And hence, we saw the likes of palladium being up over 8% at some point. But it's kind of a worrying kind of a situation because we don't want to be so high in the morning, then later in the day, you end up almost losing more than half of those gains. And in some instances, it used to be an indication that probably there might be a bear market coming. So, but we hope with stimulus in place, low interest rates in place, the vaccine rollout being successful, that should continue to help the world economies going forward.
All right. Speaking about minerals and commodities, Makwe, eNCA, I don't know if you're invested in this particular company, but if you are, you probably had quite the smile on your face with them declaring that a record dividend.
And more especially, there's also a special dividend, and also the guys will be doing a share buyback, and a share buyback of almost 1.5 billion. That's going to help the earnings going forward because you won't have as many shares in issue. So that will help us who will be sharing on those earnings going forward. And yes, the guys keep on doing well. They expect the coal prices to remain strong or fairly okay for the first quarter, and then second quarter probably they can start to soften. And the political dynamics between Australia and China, they are expected to impact on the export from this side. And when it comes to the stock levels, we've got fairly enough stock, and Eskom as well has just above average stock when it comes to that. And you are right, guys are smiling all the way to the bank. Remember, we also made good money coming out of iron ore. As eNCA, they've got a 21% shareholding when it comes to that session iron ore, which is owned by Kumba. And it's not surprising to see eNCA ending the day almost more than 3% up.
Right, Makwe, let's move on to ARC's Rain now, and that produced some solid results going into profitability after being in the market for just about 3 years. But this is an interesting, would you not agree, given that there's been a lot of unhappiness in the past with the kind of service that it provides?
Sure, and it continues to make a significant portion when it comes to their portfolio, almost 27%. But we know that there was nice, huge demand when it comes to their services, as much as people might be complaining. But yes, the guys continue to attract customers. And bearing in mind that the guys are also invested in banking through Timebank, which is not doing too badly. And they also had that 25% stake that they bought from Sanlam when it comes to their third-party asset management. So things are not looking too shabby. And they even accepted themselves that as much as there's COVID, companies have been struggling, but now lately it seems as if companies have more or less adjusted to this new situation, and for them to see a drop when it comes to their diluted intrinsic net asset value is because of that rights issue that they had of almost 750 million, where they had to issue more shares.
Right, and I'm glad you mentioned Timebank, because that was going to be my final question to you, Makwe. ARC also announcing that they're going to be investing heavily in Timebank. Obviously, it hasn't taken up as quick as they would have liked, but they're obviously very optimistic about the future if significant investment is going to go into it.
Definitely, and also their partnership with the ZCC that will help going forward. And I think just like most businesses, this whole thing of COVID-19 affected most plans for most companies. But I think forward-looking, with them putting more money, they're optimistic that things should turn around going forward. And yes, there's competition on that side as well, because we've got our Discovery Bank as well, we've got our Zero Bank as well coming to the fourth. But for us consumers, that should be good news, because now we know that fees will go down. And just like we've seen with the other banks that have reported their results, our net banks or so, they're not even declaring dividends and the absence of this wealth because transactional volumes were low. So this whole impact on them for now, it was expected. But the main thing is we invest going forward. And yeah, we think they stand a good chance to start making good money out of that.
Brilliant. As always, Makwe Masilela from Makwe Fund Managers giving us a wrap of the markets day. Sally, that's all.